So we're all in lockdown, which means that when we go out of the house, we have to be like 2 meters away from anyone, which means it's nicely quiet outside. I mean, one day, in the future, those of us who are surviving and remaining after all this pandemic is over, because it's so quiet outside and the air is so clean and fresh and there's space and it's not noisy when you go out, we'll probably look back and think, oh, wasn't that a lovely pandemic? Or something similar. But how are you going to survive when you're in lockdown? What is your main method going to be to keep yourself sane when you're craving human company and you can't have it? Well, obviously it's going to be your internet connection, and it's going to be televisual, audio-visual entertainment of various different types. And I've got this little device, which is great. I mean, I'm watching this movie on Netflix at the moment. It's called 47 Meters Down Uncaged. Basically, it's like girls in bikinis going diving into a cave that's like a temple and a catacombs, right? And there's sharks. What could possibly, under any circumstances, go wrong? But it gives me an opportunity to play with a certain little device I have, which is one of the ways in which I'm surviving. Now we're in lockdown. Come here. Come here. Come down to my level. No, that sounded a bit creepy. Okay, it's a little box down here. It's that. And it's plugged into my TV box, because I've downgraded from cable TV because that's like getting expensive, and I got Freeview. But this is plugged in it via HDMI, which then gets plugged into the TV, right? Now, what does it do? You can tell I'm getting old if I'm making that kind of noise when I'm trying to stand up. It converts, the moving image and the camera angles and the rest of that into 3D. So with the blue and yellow 3D glasses, you then get some kind of simulation of 3D. It doesn't work with all shows, okay? So if you're watching like the news, it's going to be like really rather boring because you're just sitting there, no camera angles, and the camera's not moving. You're going to get nothing. But with something like this, with a bit of action in it, it works really rather well. Sure, it's a bit dark, so because you're basically wearing dark glasses. But it does work. These things cost about £20 or £30 on eBay. It works with my Now TV stick, it works with my Anycast device for my phone, and it works with the Freeview box as well. So if you've got cable or satellite and it's coming out via HDMI cables, it'll work with that too. So maybe if that's what you're interested in, you want to have some 3D entertainment rather than just your standard boring old 2D, just for a change. Maybe that's a little toy you might want to invest in just to help you to survive mentally during these dark times when there's like nothing happening and you're not really allowed to be out all that often, apart from, in this country, to go for a walk for exercise, to nip down to the shops, to nip down to a place for medical purposes, and basically like most of the normal things I tend to do, because I'm one of these people who works from home, right? People say, I had to get used to working from home, as if that's a thing. I've been working from home for over 13 years, close to 15 years if you think about it. And I'm kind of used to it. So in some respects, I'm quite lucky. Maybe that was my disaster preparations. It's not a question of stockpiling tons of toilet rolls. It was just me living my life. But I'm on the internet, so obviously I don't have a life. Well, apart from all the things I do in my... Anyway, get yourself a 3D box. Relatively cheap, quite good fun. give you something to entertain yourself instead of going completely mad watching television. You can go completely mad watching television in 3D. Kind of, just about. It's not as good as regular stuff, but if you've got a Blu-ray player which is 3D, it'll get one and play with it.